For centuries, progress was defined by how successfully we could offload physical labor. We engineered massive iron boilers and heavy wheels specifically to overcome the raw friction of the material world. By the mid-20th century, that effort moved indoors. We built complex, synchronized systems to process information, turning rooms full of people into manual data processing machines to handle the growing friction of administrative and early cognitive tasks. Our latest tools have moved beyond simple automation. They autonomously iterate, testing thousands of chemical compounds or vaccine candidates in fractions of a single second. For the first time, our creations are doing more than just amplifying the effort we put in. They have begun to think back. Consider the typical morning of a modern project manager. Overwhelming streams of daily communication are now triaged by invisible digital assistants before they even finish their coffee. This interface shows a standard inbox. It would take a human hours to process 400 messages, but the software distills that volume into 3 actionable bullet points in seconds. This weightless routine is supported by a massive physical reality. Hidden in the desert, vast data centers hum constantly, acting as the enormous brain doing the heavy lifting behind every effortless task. This digital dashboard illustrates the power of a simple vocal prompt. A single command can cross-reference complex international legal codes, shooting connections to thousands of global legal points simultaneously. The tedious scheduling and data entry that once defined professional life are evaporating from the modern workflow. The human role is shifting toward high-level coordination. As the machine handles the execution, the human is left to determine the intent, moving us from being the ones playing the instruments to the ones directing the entire performance. But absolute operational efficiency has consequences that aren't immediately visible in a morning routine. This graph tracks corporate spending. The blue line representing operational costs dives towards zero as AI takes over core tasks. Meanwhile, the budget for human labor turns red and flatlines. In the pursuit of efficiency, the person doing the work has become an avoidable expense. We see this in modern logistics. Massive warehouses now operate in total darkness because robots navigating by LiDAR don't need light to see the aisles. By erasing every point of friction, we have reached a state where the who of the work is increasingly optional. Corporate efficiency creates a profound psychological vacuum for the individual. Creative professionals who spent years mastering their craft suddenly find they no longer need to execute it. A software engineer can now prompt an algorithm and receive perfect code, only to realize they no longer fully understand the logic or the architecture of the product they just built. This is creating a visible tension. We are seeing a rise in public protests as people realize their creative identity is being automated away. When an algorithm can mimic a world leader's face and voice with total precision, our grip on objective reality begins to fail. As these digital copies become indistinguishable from the original, we risk a mass disconnection from what is actually true. When the struggle of creation is outsourced, the boundary of identity starts to blur. We are moving from active participants to passive observers. We have arrived at a surreal reversal, where biological humans are forced to constantly prove their own existence to machine gatekeepers. A mechanical uprising is a distraction from the subtler danger, the possibility that by removing every obstacle, we accidentally strip away the very struggle that gives human achievement its weight. If an algorithm writes a symphony or solves a scientific mystery, does the result retain any meaning if the human friction required to achieve it has been deleted? The difficulty we spent centuries trying to escape, the heavy lifting, the trial and error, was the very thing that provided our sense of progression and value. AI offers a path towards solving our greatest physical threats. It has the computing power to model and resolve deep planetary climate crises. But as the external world is optimized, it leaves a growing void within the human psyche. The technology shows us exactly what we value. It reflects our technological brilliance back at us, while simultaneously exposing the deep insecurities we've managed to ignore for a century. It forces us to challenge the assumption that human worth must be tied to economic output and labor. In a world where machines can do everything, we are finally forced to ask what a human is actually for.